What character concepts did you have that weren't as good or fun as you hoped? GM tells us to make completely mundane characters for a 5th edition game. Make a retired guard captain. He's actually a massive coward, and talks shit because nothing bad ever happens in this little town. Shit hits the fan, and he doesn't know how to fight and hides in every combat but pretends he was there in the thick of it. Realised I created a character to join a combat-focused game who doesn't participate in combat.
Yeah.
Decided to retire him. His final line was, "You go that way, I'll go home."
Fair enough. You know, that makes me think of, is that not your one from Game of Thrones? Do you remember the captain of the guard in Game of Thrones and he got sent to the wall?
Oh yes.
Do you remember him? Yeah, the bald one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me think of him. I don't know, I've never had a character concept that I've had character concepts where I've thought, I'm going to do this, but then whenever I actually get to playing them, I end up not doing that.
Yeah.
And I go,
you know what I seen the other day? We posted a rogue video the other day. And I just need to mention this comment because I read it today and I thought it was so good. Like, so good.
What, in the comment section?
In the comment. I'll look back and see who it was. They wrote to play a rogue, but a Mr. Bean rogue.
Oh.
Who was never actually meant to be a rogue but just wound up in the process.
Honestly, Mr. Bean does me.
Fun and funny would that be?
Oh, I think I could have a lot of fun with
He tries to be a rogue, but it just doesn't work out.
Yeah. I think you could work with that because honestly, but Mr. Bean Mr. Bean is almost a magical entity though.
Yeah, he is.
Because he manages to just do things that defy anything. And somehow we need to watch the Bean movie again.
Yeah.
That's so good. It's so good. But yeah, for me personally, I feel like I've had character ideas, but I've not actually fallen through with them, and I've ended up doing completely different things than what I originally had envisioned. And then the only other one would be I've tried to make subclasses, and then I've realised they're just shit.
Yeah.
And they aren't filling a niche or a goal or anything. They're just like, I'm just putting cool shit in for the sake of putting cool shit in.
Yeah.
And it's not actually got a defined feel or... You know what I mean? It's hard. It's hard, but that's my issue.
Made a character once for a D&D game who was a travelling merchant. My idea was that I would be making lots of money during my downtime and getting the party good deals on gear and potions and stuff. Went rogue for expertise in persuasion and insight, and because sneak attack let me have some combat use too. Yeah, it turns out the party had more money than they knew what to do with after a few sessions, so I was left with an underpowered combat character who wasn't really doing much else to compensate. I was still useful during social stuff, I guess, but social stuff was rarely high stakes or relevant to the campaign compared to combat stuff, and I ended up feeling like dead weight. Had my character take her money and retire, and ended up making an archery focused monk instead.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that.
Yeah.
It feels like
it was a good premise, but for the game you were playing,
just doesn't pan out. Yeah. I do like playing faces though, and I do like playing high charisma beast characters. Yeah. But I think that's also why I do like paladins, because and I do like warlocks, and I do like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And swashbuckling rogues, anything that has to take charisma, I'm automatically going to be that's interesting. You know what I mean? But I enjoy my role playing just as much as I enjoy my combat.
Yeah.
Even if my role playing is just shit posting and scams. Unironically.
I've tried a couple of times now to play a particular character with the same build and general concept. D&D 5th edition, human Great Old One warlock with actor feat, mask of many faces invocation, and proficiency...
Look guys, it's been a long day. Let's just keep it proficiency.
Proficiency in deception. I figured there's a lot of interesting gameplay possibilities that could open up.
Honestly,
it sounds like a
Mask of Many Faces. I love Hat of Disguise, and I love Mask of Many Faces. I think it's a lot of people say like, it's very situational. It's like it's always on the table. You can always do something with it.
The basic character concept is a woman who has an ethereal parasite latched onto your brain, acting as her patron. The parasite provides her magical knowledge, but feeds on her emotions, causing her to be rather detached and subdued when the mask is off. However, she's often putting on an exaggerated, polite, bubbly facade that she believes to be effective at disarming people.
I mean, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Likewise, she uses her disguise magic to hide her equipment and instead assumes the appearance of a rather churchy looking girl. I thought it would be an interesting gimmick, and, if nothing else, the ultra-polite facade was indeed a fun to roleplay. The core character motivation was an insatiable curiosity for magical secrets shared by both the character and her patron. So what's the problem? Well, first off, all the deception and disguise abilities hinge on a DM who's willing to play ball with any of it, and not stonewall me. Part of that was the second issue. I, as a player, am simply not a witty liar. It's hard to roleplay a liar when you're not terribly good at coming up with convincing lies on the spot. Though, in my defence, I swear at least one DM was just flat out being antagonistic and demanding ridiculous amounts of corroborating information for even the most trivial lies. Ultimately, I still managed to have a decent time with the character by pivoting towards the more reckless researcher angle and focusing her abilities towards combat and exploration. Her disguise and deception abilities more or less just became flavour. So while I wasn't suffering, it always disappointed me, since I felt like there was a lot of unrealised potential.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good character.
You know, the worst thing is, I feel like...
And you know what I hate? When people put so much effort into their character like this, and then they don't get to release the full potential
this is like the opposite.
The DM doesn't play with it.
Exactly. Now, like, you know, DM's always going about, the players aren't willing to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, they're all playing basic characters.
They're all doing this, not doing that. But why can't... It's a two-way street, you know what I mean? And there was a really good one I heard a wee while back for like DM advice, and it was you should be a fan of your players.
Yeah.
Not over the top fan, not like a Doran fan, but you should definitely be rooting for them.
Yeah.
And I feel like I love this idea. I think it's really cool. Although I would end up just playing fucking what do you call that alien from American Dad?
Roger.
Yeah, with all his costumes.
Yeah.
That's what I would end up. I know fine likely that's what it would devolve into essentially. But no, I like this idea. I think it's really cool. I love warlocks. I know everyone's like, oh, they're edgy, they're this or that. And I think
when warlocks are played well, though, they're played really well.
Like, you know, and the thing is, like, okay, they're not the best spellcasters, but I still think they're cool. I really like them, and I prefer them over sorcerer, even though everyone knows wizards are best. You know, we can't deny that. But I would definitely pick a warlock over a sorcerer.
I played a low intelligence character and regretted it.
Good, as you should.
Me in life.
I fucked my build up, and I can't reset. Life's an RPG. What was that? Negative XP.
Negative XP, so...
Yeah, Life's an RPG, and I fucked up my build.
I was tired of being the person that solved all the puzzles and uncovered whatever mysteries of the campaign the DM had hidden. Wanted to give the other players at the table a go so they could feel more comfortable taking the lead, and having the excuse of my character not being the brightest seemed like a good idea at the time. I did some prep for how I was going to roleplay him, but when I showed up at the table, all of that got thrown out. Not having at least neutral intelligence makes your character mentally disabled in most players' eyes, and anything below 8 means you can barely even speak in full sentences.
No, I put an 8 down, you can't lead or write.
Yeah.
But I still think you can speak.
Yeah.
Your speech is probably on par with mine, though.
At least that was how I was forced to play the character. Anytime I wanted to do anything, even if it was something instinctual, I had to pass an intelligence check to see if my character would have been able to think.
I mean, you're not a lock, like, you know.
Yeah.
Can you not, like, you know, put a bit of wisdom in?
Yeah.
You know, wisdom can mean a lot.
I didn't think that my plan backfired, but no one else at the table tried to solve the puzzles that was tied to defeating the main villain. But I think that might have been partially the DM's fault for catering a campaign with a ton of really counterintuitive aspects to it. For instance, there was this one thing that if we touched it, we were told, out of character by the way, we would absolutely die and need to make a new character. That alongside the one encounter we had with it, indicating that even getting slightly close to it was a massive risk, made sure everyone did their best to completely avoid it. Well, we got stuck, and what did we need to do? Touch the thing that would kill us, of course, but in such a way that was never hinted at being possible, so it was safe.
I mean, like, I don't know. That just sounds like a bit of a mess.
Mess by the DM, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's much you can really.
Yeah, but as you said, you should have put a wee bit of wisdom into it.
Yeah,
like,
maybe wisdom.
You could be thick and low intelligence, but you could also be.
Your mom's a prime example of that.
My mum is as thick as cow shit, but she is so.
Yeah, she's good.
Knowledgeable.
She's definitely very practical, to say the least.
She's very practical and very street smart and homely
and very capable.
And very capable, but ask her what 2 + 2 is and she'll say 96. The entire time I was there, I had to listen to people make increasing cruel jokes about my now lobotomized character. Maybe it's because I grew up with a disabled brother, but having 5 other people laugh at me for being a retard for multiple hours at a time really wasn't enjoyable.
Oh, that's kind of sad, actually.
It did open my eyes towards how other people see those with intellectual disabilities, as well as how having an average person really knew about intelligence and disabilities and the kinds of misconceptions and stereotypes that are just accepted as truth. What I learned from this was that if you're going to play a low intelligence character, make sure everyone sees at the table isn't low intelligence themselves.
That's actually kind of sad.
Yeah.
That's really sad, if I'm being honest with you. That ended on a pretty sorry note. I'm disappointed in how. You see, I think, you know what the biggest problem is? Like, I do believe midwititis is a real thing.
Mid what?
Midwititis.
Oh.
See people that are, it's like, have you ever, any of you guys heard about the Dunning-Kruger effect? People that don't actually know that much about a subject, like say they learn a wee bit about a certain subject,
they think they know everything.
They really think they know an awful lot, but once you get really into a subject, then your confidence in your knowledge of that certain subject drops drastically, and then it's like goes on a curve. I'll put a chart up, and I think it's actually really interesting because I think I've definitely met quite a few people in real life that I could definitely apply that to, and I feel like there's a lot of people that suffer from that, you know, just midwits, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're definitely not stupid, but they think a lot more highly of themselves, and they almost are at a point where they almost brag about their intelligence, even though you know that they're not. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I think, like, what I'm really trying to say is fucking humble yourself. I think
I think a lot of people need to fucking humble themselves.
There's a lot of people, especially on the internet. But again, like, you know, why would you bother wasting time arguing with people?
Not even just the internet, especially on fucking Twitter.
Twitter. Yeah, I just, anytime you're on, don't even
and
go
people
up.
say 4chan to set over the internet.
Honestly, anytime you're on Twitter, just don't. Just don't. But just apply that graph to absolutely everything, and it will just make life a lot more clear. I think it does anyway.
And now, the models of our website, brought to you by neckbeardia.co.uk. Get y'all some of these titties.
Dwarf titties, orc titties, cat titties, fat titties, the gases and wastes a bit. Vampires and goblins and all the buff champions and even hentai, yeah that too. Dragons, manticores, ogres and gnomes and bugbears and even more to go still. Undead and demons and then our friend Pally and definitely not 40k. Wood elves, dark elves and lizards and Megan the Slither and James the look cool as he stands. Beholders and kobolds and tyrants and only in a donkey with a frying pan. If you don't want no models, then no need to bother. We now have subclasses and teas. Also, Guardbros Book, go have a look. Check out the link to Ko-fi. Thank you for watching our videos and giving our channel a hand. But this is the end, our viewers and friends, so let's get back to the video, man. I fucking hate myself. Wanted to play a less combat, more roleplay heavy character. Made a Fey warlock that was going to focus on debuffing people, charming, etc. DM says it sounds great. First session goes fine, pretty slow start. Second session we're fighting nothing but undead and constructs that are immune to all of my spells. Third session is the same way. Didn't know this was going to be a horror campaign until it veered that way the second session. End up just standing around waiting to cast Eldritch Blast on my turn, bored out of my mind. Character conveniently decides to go home to attend to a major crisis in his hometown the same day. Unga Bunga, the zombie-hating barbarian, showed up. Lesson learned. Always be a murder hobo.
Honestly, though, like, that's the problem with Warlock, so isn't it? You're going to be a Eldritch Blast fucking auto-attack cannon.
Yeah.
Sadly, it's a really good spell. It's, you get a lot of bonuses
put onto it. Most of the time it seems to be the only thing that you can do.
But again, like, you know, people complain about it. But then again, look at most martial classes. I bonk with a sword. What's the difference between that and Eldritch Blast? Yeah. I feel like it's just because wizards just have so much utility spells. It's unreal.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and also, it's just warlocks just don't have the spell slots. Like, what, 2 a day? That's it. And they don't even, like, you have to use a long rest to get that back. It's like, and you can't, it's not even like they get buffed up with tons and tons of cantrips or anything.
Yeah.
Like, you know. It's sad, but I do love warlocks all the same.
I had a character who, on session 1 of our D&D 5th edition campaign, stared into an eldritch horror and went mad. Later, session 1, Jesus
How the
Christ.
fuck did you end that in session 1?
Later on in the session, he died, but the quirk was that he would be reincarnated as a fully random level character each time he died, retaining the same personality and memories, while not knowing how their new class/race worked at all.
That sounds actually really... I you know what? See, for a
Sounds
campaign...
really interesting.
I'm actually down for that. I feel like some weird Ezekiel sort of game. Honestly, that's really cool. I love the idea of like maybe anytime you die, the whole party, you get warped into like a different world, and then it's completely different setting, and then the DM just hands out a different rule book. It's like, sorry, we're playing Pathfinder this week. You know what I mean? We need to get our guy out of Call of Cthulhu, so we do. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah,
stuck.
like that.
I think that's really cool.
Turns out he was cursed with a monkey's paw version of immortality for staring at the horror. Anyway, I made a joke about killing myself to re-roll my character in session 3, as my soul had a meta joke that he could talk to God, DM, and vaguely knew we were all in a game of sorts. Everyone laughed except someone's girlfriend, who he brought along. She did the whole tap the card routine, and it was then I saw the train tracks on her arms. Was booted after that because I made people feel unsafe.
I don't know about that. Like, you know, that's...
Worst part was everyone else at the table didn't say a word, just looked down awkwardly and messaged me hours after I left. Wait, what did he do?
Okay,
by killing himself? Fuck off!
So he made a joke about killing himself, and there was someone that's got problems with
Yeah.
it. I mean, like, yeah, like people have got their own issues and all, but it's not like you knew. It's
not like you knew.
It would be different if you knew, but if you don't know, I don't really go fuck yourself. You know, see, this is the problem I've got. And to bring up Twitter again, you know, it's kind of like, how dare you not have thought of me, someone that you don't even know, care about, or have ever interacted with in the real world.
Exactly.
And it's a sense of, I hate to call this entitlement,
Yeah.
but I can't, you know,
But it's like on Twitter whenever you say something, it's like, wait, did you say this about me when I'm clearly this? And then it's like, how am I meant to know your profile picture's an anime?
Yeah.
I don't know who you are.
No, I can tell, all right, someone went to an anime profile picture, just saying. But, you know, it's different if you know. If you knew, then maybe it's a bit of a tasteless joke, you know, whatever, like, you know, not the greatest of moves, but, like, you know, if you don't know, you don't know. And I don't feel like anyone should be, you know, why didn't someone just be like, say to them afterwards, I'd be like, oh, can we avoid this sort of stuff? And like, you know, to actually talk about it like fucking normal people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's, like, let's just keep going. This is the type of shit that boils my piss. You know what I mean?
I remember it happened to me in school one time. We were actually in English and we were reading a book. And I asked a question to the teacher, and it was something about, is that because the mother of the main character died? And everybody in class was like, Megan, what the fuck? Because the fella's in class, his mum died like a month before, and I was like, it's in the book.
Well, it's
not like I'm out to hurt him.
Yeah, it's not like you...
It's not like, oh, by the way, this fella's mum died, just letting you know.
Yeah. I mean, like, people are going to be, you know, when bad things happen to you or whatever, you know, you're going to be in situations where you're going to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, and like, you know what it is? I feel like, you know, there's a lot of good intention there. It's like, oh no, we're going to make everyone feel great. We're not going to do this, Y, Z, whatever.
Everybody gets a safety corner.
You know, but sadly, life's not like...
This is the internet. You don't get safety corners. Man up or get off.
but life's just not like that. Life, you don't have that... you know,
safety blanket.
Yeah, you just don't have that options. What's that one? The Greek pushing the boulder up the hill. Life's a struggle.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all I can really say about
Life's
it.
a bitch, and then you marry one.
Yeah.
Oh my guys.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I'm that bad, am I? All right, thanks.
No, you're not.
Well, I suppose this ended on a bit more of a sour note.
Yeah.
But I suppose it is about disappointment, isn't it?
Yeah.
The video is about disappointment, so I kind of
have like a different ending, I suppose.
Normally when we do stories, sometimes it's just depressing. Like, you know, they're not even cringe or whatever. They're just like, man, that's just a shit situation.
Yeah.
This one is just more disappointing. But
yeah,
that's what the character was about. I'm trying to think. I don't, as I said at the start of the video, I don't think I've really had any characters I would say disappointing. I've had characters where I've thought at the beginning of this brilliant idea, I'm like, oh mate, this sounds really cool, let's do it. I work out a build for it, I work around it, and then I go ahead and start playing it, and then I realise...
But you never know what type of character... Honestly, you never know what type of character you're going to play until you get down to the board.
Yeah, until you actually start interacting with the other people.
You can have all these ideas of this character that you've rolled up and you've taken to your game and you play it a completely different way.
Yeah.
It always happens like that because until you start interacting with the other people on the board, you don't actually know what you're going to play.
Yeah, I do think that's very true, so it is. And also, like, you know, maybe you've got an idea, oh, my character's going to act like this, but the other people around you, how are you gonna, like, you know, what are their characters like? And there's a lot of give and take, and you don't know. But I always like experimenting, and I like to play characters that I don't normally play. You know what I mean? I do suffer from, I like to play marshals. You know what I mean? But
I think everyone does to a certain extent. Marshals are just fun to play.
Yeah, people, it's like that. I'm either I like the spellcasters or I like marshals or whatever. I've been really wanting to.
I could never play spellcaster.
I like spellcasters, honestly.
I could never, because I'd never remember what spells that I have because I don't bring a pencil.
Yeah, you wouldn't. You fucking dumb cunt. But yeah, what have you guys ever had this? Have you guys ever had plans for, like, you've got these great big plans, it's like, oh, I'm going to do this and that, or maybe you've came across a build online and you're like, you know what, that build fits perfectly for this character that I've been thinking of for ages and I really want to give it a go, and then
it just turns to shit,
and then it's like, you know what,
the game's not working with the character,
this just doesn't work.
But if you want some inspiration for your games,
yeah, if you want inspiration,
segue, my guy. If you want some inspiration for characters, why don't you head over onto neckbeardia.co.uk and have a look at the models. There might be something in there. Something might ignite your fire for a certain character you want to roll up onto a table, and you know, just go have a look. And same with the subclasses.
Oh, the subclass. I honestly, it's not often I would say this, I actually really enjoy the subclasses.
They're good.
My personal favourites are the North FC and the Artificer. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy both of them. The Artificer, I've got an idea, I'm going to expand on it. And I really want to do, if you guys remember that movie, Toy Soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
And I really want to do, and I really want to make, like, the Gorgonauts.
The Gorgonauts and
the army man, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I think it would be really cool, and I want to get it done, but the problem is the artwork costs a bit, and, you know,
everything takes time.
Yeah, everything takes time, and honestly, the first, the Puppet Masterclass didn't really sell that great anyway, and, like, you know, it's one of those ones, so I don't know if it'll be viable to make an expansion onto a subclass that already people aren't overly interested in, so, you know, it's one of those ones.
Well, anyway,
but I might just make it for a bit of fun.
Yeah, go and check it out. All the links down below, and hit subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time we post a video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Oh, you will hit subscribe.
And anytime I say bye, I just think of the outro music.
What
That's just going in my head.
What outro music?
Our outro music.
Oh, da-da, da-da.
This video has no outro music. It's just me and James doing it.
Okay, I can start now.